Welcome back, BFOD Squad. Another episode of Barrel Full of Daryl. Glad to have you here. That's me, Daryl, and my thing on this show is discussing music, movies, and maybe providing some other cool shit to talk about. Well, I hope you listened to and enjoyed last week's show with Megan and Kenzie. You may recall that Kenzie and I, we couldn't quite put our finger on Jimi Hendrix's time of service in the Army. So, as promised, I looked into it. He enlisted in May of 1961 to avoid jail time for stealing cars, and he was discharged in June of 1962. So that's 13 months. He did receive an honorable discharge after injuring his ankle during a paratrooper jump. However, official records noted a general lack of interest and inability to perform duties that were the primary reasons for his discharge. So, hope that scratched the itch. Music. Today I want to talk about a guy named Chris Whitley. I hear you. Hey, Daryl, who the hell is Chris Whitley? Well, that's all right. I'd be shocked if you knew of him, actually. These days, probably only professional guitarists and other musicians know about him. But he was a singer-songwriter, played a mean guitar, but he never became rich and famous. And I just feel that you need to hear about him and listen to a few of his songs. Well, he was born in Texas in 1960 and died in 2005 at the age of 45 due to lung cancer. Now, growing up, his parents listened to music, a lot of music, the likes of Muddy Waters, Bob Dylan, Creedence Clearwater Revival, and Jimi Hendrix. And all of this influenced Chris. And at the age of 15 years old, he taught himself to play guitar by ear. Now, his weapon of choice, guitar-wise, is a National Resonator guitar, which has a very distinct sound. It kind of looks like a regular guitar, but it's got this big chrome-looking metallic, I don't know what you call it, I guess disc. It's like 12 inches in diameter, and that's, there's no guitar hole. That thing covers where the guitar hole would be. But like I said, it has a unique sound. It's high strung, sounds a little bit like a dobro. And he really played the shit out of that thing. I think for most of his career, that was his main instrument. And he started out as a bluesman, playing blues music. And after busking on New York streets, from 1977 to 1981, he moved to Belgium, and he lived there for 6 years. He played with several bands there and released several albums. In 1988, he moved back to New York, and he was introduced to Daniel Lanois. That's Lanois. I'm guessing French. It's pronounced Lanois. And this guy, he helped him get his first record contract with Columbia Records. And his first album, Living with the Law, contains the title song that grabbed everyone's attention, and record companies were jumping through hoops to sign him. Now, this is a bluesy folk rock type album, and with it, he is right there on the cusp of stardom once it was released. And he got a little recognition. He opened for Tom Petty during his tour. But Chris kind of quickly recognized that just living with a record contract was not for him. He wasn't ready to jump through the hoops that the record producers wanted him to jump through. And he basically said every one of his albums is going to sound different. So 4 years later, he released his second album called Den of Ecstasy, D-I-N, as in noise, Den of Ecstasy. And this is basically a grunge album, which alienated many of his fans. And it was not critically well received, but he didn't really care. This was the first of his many albums that didn't sound like the last one. So, accordingly, Columbia Records fired him, and all of his subsequent albums were released on indie labels. On his fourth album, Dirt Floor, which was recorded in his father's barn in Vermont, he returned to his acoustic style and received critical praise for it. It's basically him and the guitar on the whole album. The New York Times stated that it is a beautiful album of one microphone simplicity. I'm going to jump now to his sixth studio album, Rocket House, which is my favorite. Me and Lisa have been listening to it quite a bit lately. This is almost a psychedelic album. And at times you get a little taste of, hey, is that Jimi Hendrix playing in the background? But of course, Jimmy's dead by now. But in this album, Chris uses feedback, wah-wah, and even turntable scratchings by DJ Logic. There's a lot of little electronic sounds sprinkled throughout the songs as well. By themselves, they would probably be irritating, but they work very well as a background for his songs. And Chris stated that this album is electronic abstraction. Okay. I'll add that it is layered with sonic textures. Really good music. On this album, he had guest personnel including Dave Matthews, Bruce Hornsby, and Chris's daughter, Trixie. And the album was released on Dave Matthews' label, ATO Records. Over a 17-year period, Chris released 17 albums and toured as a solo act. So he kept himself busy, although he carried a big load of drug and alcohol addiction as well. But his writing and his lyrics, they're poetic. And he has a very unique singing voice that fits his songs perfectly. He's basically a tenor, and within one lyric, he'll go from tenor to falsetto, and it just fits the mood of the song perfectly when he does that. Throughout his career, he stayed true to himself and to his art of making music. His daughter Trixie was involved in the recording and production of some of his albums, and she has released 2 or 3 of her own albums as well. And here's a short list of some of Chris's fans and friends. Bruce Springsteen, John Mellencamp, Tom Petty, Don Henley, Iggy Pop, Keith Richards, and John Mayer. And this is what John Mayer said after Chris's death. Whitley's somewhat prostrated place in pop music earned him a sidebar of an obituary. But to those who knew his work, it registers as one of the most underappreciated losses in all of music. So be sure to listen to his songs. I'm dropping on the playlist. I'm going to put 4 or 5 on there. And rest in peace, Mr. Whitley. And thank you for being the antithesis of AC/DC. Oh, by the way, there's a documentary on YouTube titled Dust Music, a film about Chris Whitley, if you're so inclined to watch it. It's free, so, no gas station hot dog required. And now we're going to have a little word from our sponsor. Be back in a minute.
Well, howdy, y'all. This here is Chrissy May Parlay. And if you ever visit Scratch Ankle, Alabama, please call me for a good time. We can even make it a party if you like. I'm wide open for anything. You may see some writing on the bathroom stall to call Shorty McCoochie. But believe me, you don't want none of that. Unless you want to visit Doc McDonald while you are here. But I ain't sure if he can take care of whatever you catch from her. So call Chrissy May Parlay for a good, clean time during your visit to Scratch Ankle, Alabama.
And we're back. Today's movie. I'll tell you, every now and then I struggle coming up with a movie to tell you guys about, but when this one hit my brain, I'm like, hell yeah, this is it. The name of the movie is Fargo. It's a must-see. It's, I'd say it's in my top 5. It's probably in my top 2. It was released in 1996, written, directed by, and produced by the Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan. These two guys know how to make movies and win awards. You may recall that way back in episode 2, I discussed their adaptation of No Country for Old Men, a very dark and captivating film. Well, Fargo is also dark, but it's a dark comedy. It received 7 Oscar nods, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, which was won by Frances McDormand, and Best Original Screenplay, which was won by the Coen brothers. In 1998, the American Film Institute named it one of the 100 greatest American films in history. Yeah, it's that good. These are the leading cast of actors. Frances McDormand, William H. Macy, John Carroll Lynch, Steve Buscemi, and Peter Stormare. Now, the characters they play are quite odd and even a bit insane in some cases. And the setting is wintertime in Minnesota. So, yeah, very cold. Now, William H. Macy, he plays Jerry Lundegaard, and he's the executive sales manager at a Minneapolis car dealership owned by his father-in-law, Wade Gustafson. Let me say here that all of the characters speak with a North Central American English accent, don't you know? Yeah, you betcha. You darn tootin'. So the whole movie is rife with this accent. I love it. Well, Jerry, poor guy, he's in a lot of debt and he needs about $80,000 to pay it off. So he plans to have his wife, Jean, kidnapped. Now, the dealership mechanic, an ex-con, recommends that he use a guy named Gear Grisman and Carl Showalter, played by Peter Stormare and Steve Buscemi. You can hire them as the kidnappers. Now, his weird first name, Gaear. Gaer he's kind of a scary guy. He's a cold-blooded killer. Also has very little dialogue in the film. Carl basically has to berate him to get him to talk. But Carl, played by Buscemi, he's kind of an antsy, wannabe bad guy. So Jerry meets with these two guys and settles the deal for the kidnapping. Now, meanwhile, Jerry has located a plot of land suitable for a commercial parking lot, and he seeks $700,000 from his father-in-law to purchase the land. So Jerry thinks that he has secured this deal and tries to call off the kidnapping, but he's too late. The game is afoot. So the wife gets kidnapped by Gare and Carl, and they take off with her rolled up in a blanket in the back seat. Oh, by the way, meanwhile, Jerry has been told by his father-in-law that he will not get the money to buy the land, but he will get a finder's fee while he himself will invest in the property. You can imagine Jerry's quite unhappy with this. But later that night, or maybe the next night, the kidnappers have Jean, as I said, rolled up in a blanket in the backseat of their car, and they're driving to a lake hideout. Well, they get pulled over by a state trooper for a license plate issue. Carl tries to bribe him, but it only makes matters worse. Then the trooper hears Jean in the back seat and asks them what's going on. So Gare, being Gare, pulls his gun and shoots the trooper right in the head. Well, they get out of the car, and while they're dragging the trooper back to his patrol car, another car drives by with a young teen couple inside. So Gare, being Gare, gets in his car, chases them down, and kills them both. So the next day is when we meet the local sheriff, Marge Gunderson, played by Frances McDormand, who is 7 months pregnant. Marge takes a quick look at the murder scene and correctly deduces what happened, and she starts digging into it. So now Jerry tells his father-in-law, Wade, that the kidnappers are demanding $1 million, which is to be delivered only by Jerry himself. Well, Wade waves the bullshit flag and goes to meet Carl at a parking garage. So Carl sees the briefcase and demands the money, but Wade refuses until he sees his daughter. So Carl pulls his gun, shoots Wade, and before dying, Wade gets off a shot which tears through Carl's jaw. Carl grabs the briefcase and opens it, expecting to see $80,000, but quickly realizes it's a buttload more than that. So Carl drives back to the lake hideout with a very bloody face and offers Gare the $80,000, the original ransom, and he tells them that he's going to take the car. By the way, the wife is dead at this point. So, as far as the car, Gare and Carl get into a big fight. Gare tells him that he will take the money and the car, and a fight breaks out. Now, meanwhile, the sheriff, Marge, has located the hideout and is sneaking up to it. As she gets closer, she hears the sound of machinery and goes up into the backyard of the house and finds Gare feeding Carl's body into a wood chipper. This is one of the most iconic scenes in filmdom. It's great. The only thing sticking out of the wood chipper at this point is the lower half of one of Carl's legs. Gere's trying to ram it in there with a piece of firewood. But upon seeing Marge, Gere starts running across the frozen lake, and Marge shoots him in the leg and takes him into custody. That's basically the end of the movie. Now, as usual, my discussion here is basically a synopsis of the movie, as I've only skimmed over the surface, really. But every aspect of it is spot on, from the story itself to the acting. Just every bit of it, perfectly done. Frances McDormand certainly deserves the Oscar for Best Actress, but in my opinion, William H. Macy and Steve Buscemi steal the show. So this movie spawned a TV series of the same name with 5 seasons. If you're thinking about watching it, I would recommend season 1, definitely. Stars Billy Bob Thornton as a hitman. And season 5 is also very good one. Seasons 1 and 5. But watch them all if you care to. Also, the episodes in this TV show have a lot of Easter eggs pertaining to the movie. It's fun finding them. So Fargo is a must-see movie, even at the price of gas station sushi. Of all the films that I've previously discussed, and likely the ones that I will discuss in the near future, this is my most highly recommended movie for you to watch. Word of the week. Oh my God, why'd I pick this one? It's long. It's 20 letters long, so bear with me. Prosopometamorphopsia. Prosopometamorphopsia. I'll spell it out for you in case you have pen and paper and keeping score. Prosopometamorphopsia. Yeah, sounds just like it's spelled. But this is a rare neurological disorder in which people perceive human faces as distorted, grotesque, or demonic. And that's why this syndrome is also called devil face syndrome. Now, it affects only about 100 people worldwide, and it's not fully understood due to its rarity, but it's believed to be caused by brain damage, strokes, tumors, migraines, and or drug abuse. Now, these distortions that the people see, they vary from person to person. Some people see faces that look like they're drooping or melting, while others see them as much bigger or smaller than they really are. Features like the eyes, nose, or mouth may look blurry, out of place, or missing entirely. In a few cases, people have reported seeing the eyes floating away from the face. Can you imagine? It'd be a rough life. Joke of the week. What's 30 feet long and smells like urine? The conga line at the old folks' home. You like that? Here's another one. Old lady walks down into the game room of the old folks' home and pulls her robe open, exposing herself, and yells, "Super pussy." The guys at the card table look around, and one of them says, I think I'll take the soup. Question of the week. Now, last week, I asked, are there really 7 continents on Earth? And that depends on who you ask. There's no one single answer because it depends on the model being used. The most commonly taught model, mostly in North America, has 7 continents. However, other models exist, like the one that combines Europe and Asia into Eurasia, giving 6 continents. Then there's the 5-continent model that combines North and South America. This model is taught in Latin America and a few other regions. Some experts claim there are only 4 continents, using the model of land masses naturally separated by water. So I guess it comes down to what you were taught in school and your definition of a continent. New question of the week, related. Has Earth ever had only one continent? Has Earth ever had only one continent? Thought of the week. So the plural of ox is oxen, but the plural of box is not boxen. The plural of goose is geese, but the plural of moose is not meese. And the singular form of spaghetti is spaghetto. So if you have one little piece of that pasta in your hand, that's called spaghetto. And now you know. Oh, a little nod to the comedian for the Ox and Oxen, Brian Regan. Very funny comedian. I advise you listen to some of his shows. Don't forget about the BFOD Squad playlist on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. And super long list now. You guys just let me know if I need to trim it down. And you can contact me by clicking on the send me a text button in the episodes or directly at bfodpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget that you can support this show, as there is an option in the episodes. It's a feature that allows you to send me a little spare change every month. With your donation, I could buy, I don't know, a gas station hot dog or, I don't know, candy bar or two. So thank you for listening. I hope you were entertained, and I will talk to you again next time. Bye for now.